What's going on, guys? Today I am finally back with some live H.A.T format duel commentary. I know you guys have been wanting me to do more live duels, and, it's always been difficult just to get some friends together that, our schedules line up and to be able to actually play, but, hopefully later down the road I will be able to more so get more of these live games out, as I personally prefer playing with actual cards versus, the DB replays and stuff like that. But again, just getting schedules to line up isn't always the easiest. But anyways, here we have me on the right playing Chronomaly Artifact. I just wanted to play a kind of fun deck, and I really do like Chronomaly. And my friend is going to be on the left playing my version of the Battlin Boxer Kaiser control deck that actually I had featured in a article on TCG Player by one of the Konami publicists who do like blog posts, and he personally really likes it. But anyways, I got to start out. I just set 3 and pass. He went for Headgeared, sent a copy of the, I believe it's called Counterpunch, and then special summoned a copy of the Spar, and when he summoned that, I went for Sanctum, summon a copy of Moral Tack, pop the Headgeared, he set 1 past. It's over to me. I was just double checking the Headgeared's effect because of the battle protection. Here I go to attack into the Spar, he uses the Counterpunch to make the Spar gain 1,000 attack, and then I chain my Lance to his monster, so mine will beat over. He draws for turn, he didn't really see anything and just sets a couple and passes over to me, and I just swing in with the Moral Tack, and then over to him, he's not really seeing anything, so he sets another Spell or Trap back over to me, swinging in with Moral Tack, not really the most going on. I don't exactly remember what I had. I believe I had a Beagle Tech, Bottomless, and Sanctum set, and here he goes MST, and he blind snipes the Beagle Tech, which is really unfortunate here, because Beagle Tech is mandatory, so I do have to special it, and then I mandatory have to pop minimally one of my sets, so I am forced to pop my Bottomless. I had an extra copy of Moral Tack in my hand that I just didn't set. I forget why I wasn't setting it at the time, but I just didn't do that, and so very unfortunate I lost my Bottomless there. Anyways, here he activated the Battlin Boxer Spirits, I believe it's called, so he milled 1 and summoned back the Headgeared from grave. After that, I went into a copy of Zenmayo there, which does get met with Bottomless, and it kind of did its job. I was trying to bait some of the back row. After that, I set a couple more. He goes, switches the Headgeared to attack, normal summons a copy of Switch Hitter, summons back the Spar from grave, and when that happens, I go and activate Sanctum, and funny enough, he activates Sanctum here, which is never really the right move, because the Sanctum does get destroyed by the warning, so I will get to pop a card, so I attempt to pop his Switch Hitter, but he chains Lance to make it unaffected by, spell and traps for the turn, and it loses a little bit of attack, but here he is able to go and still swing in for some nice damage before going into a copy of Lead Yoke and then activating Kaiser Coliseum. So here it's not looking good for me, but my hand actually is perfect for this scenario, especially with how low his life is. And I go and special summon a copy of the Chronomaly Crystal Bones because he controls a monster and I don't. And then I special summon a copy of Moai, tribute summon for another copy of Moai, and go into Volcasaurus. And here I attempt to burn him out of the game here by getting rid of one of his monsters, and he chains Fiendish Chain, and that's perfect because I can overlay into Gaia Charger and just swing over the copy of Headgeared here. He only had about 11 life there anyways. So it was just the perfect outcome for me, even with how bad that hand was. Like I said, I didn't really see Chronomalys till a little later, and when I was just seeing the Moais. So a little unfortunate, but moving into game number 2, he gets to start out. He normal summons a copy of, I forget what that was there, and then gets a copy of Spar and goes into a copy of Karen Gorgon before setting 3. And my hand was like decent, but Karen Gorgon actually was like the perfect answer to what I had. Here I go and I summon a copy of Golden Jet, use the effect to increase its level, special Moai, and he compulses the Golden Jet. I set 3 over to him. He attacks over the copy of Moai before setting another back row. Here I remember, I had a Sanctum, and unfortunately that did get met with his copy of Wiretap, so it got shuffled in, and I think my other back row here was a Moraltac and an MST, and I was almost considering going and MSTing one of his back row, and he would more than likely chain the Karen Gorgon to pop my other back row, which would have popped the copy of Moraltac, and then Moraltac would have been able to summon, non-targeting, pop, and destroy the copy of the Karen Gorgon, but I figured he had something like a Fiendish Chain or a Breakthrough or after siding a bunch of different stuff, so it just didn't feel right, and I ended up getting rid of, or he ended up using a copy of Breakthrough, and at that point I felt like even if I were to do that play, he'd just have the Breakthrough for it and then can run over the Moraltac. Here I was able to get into a copy of the Gorgonic Guardian, a really cool card, honestly, and I was able to get over the Karen Gorgon by using its effect and damage step to make its attack 0, and obviously the Karen Gorgon isn't able to activate in damage step there, and so here we're kind of in this strange situation, and he is able to go and top deck a copy of Foolish Burial, so he ends up sending a copy of Glassjaw, which adds him back his switch hitter that I had, used Warning on before. Here he's going to go and activate his Breakthrough skill, and then normal summon the copy of switch hitter, special back the Glassjaw, and at this point I try to go for the MST play, even though it's not great, especially under Kaiser Coliseum. I kind of had to wait to make any sort of move here, and so when I go to actually go for the Moraltac, he ends up using Debunk. He attacks in with the Glassjaw. I activate the copy of Chalice on my monster to make them crash. He has Lance, and at that point, with Kaiser Coliseum already on the board and he's kind of more established, I'm low in card advantage, he just makes a copy of Lead Yoke. I set one, and back over to him. He switches the Lead Yoke to attack, summons the Headgeared. I look at what I have, and I just don't have anything at that point. The Kaiser really hurt in that situation, and had I gone and, used the copy of Chalice on his switch hitter, then it could have just ran over their Gorgonic that was negated, so that's why I had waited to do that regardless. Here, moving into Game 3, I get to start. I summon the copy of the Gordian Knot, special the copy of the Golden Jet. From there, both are level 4, and then I can increase their levels to level 5 and go for a copy of the Artifact Durandal, setting a copy of Lance, I believe. Here he makes a little bit of a mistake, thinking that the Glassjaw is going to trigger off of detaching here, but the Glassjaw actually only activates off of being sent to graveyard via card effect, and the Blade Armor detaches as cost. So most Xyzs do minus a handful. So here he goes to attack into the defense position Durandal. I use the Lance, and then in my turn I'm able to just switch it to attack and run over the Blade Armor. Here I considered setting a copy of Ice Hand because I did side into the hands, but I figured it's best to not overextend. So here I'm playing it a little slower, just beating down with Durandal, and here I got another copy of Lance, so I set that as well. He's not really seeing much, so he just sets one and over to me. Here my hand was a little bit awkward. I think I had double Crystal Bones, Ice Hand, and one other thing. I don't exactly remember what it was, and I was kind of afraid that he'd have a Rivalry or something, so that's why it took me a little while to actually commit into the Crystal Bones, and once I actually committed both, I went into a copy of Mechwhip Engineer, which unfortunately got hit with Warning, but I was doing that because both of them are light fairies, so it plays around Gozen or Rivalry, whichever he might have, and he's not really seeing much, and so that's why I was kind of holding out. I almost wanted to use the Durandal effect to shuffle back our hands, just because of how bad mine was. But unfortunately, like, I saw that it was putting in a lot of work and he wasn't able to out it, so I didn't do that. And he goes for a soul charge just to get a monster on board, but he realizes how low he is in life. I just summon a hand and start crashing, and this is the end of the game, and I end up taking it 2-1. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like on it, comment any questions or videos you want to see in the future, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell to get notified anytime I put a new video out, share this video with your friends, let me know if you want to see more of this, and I will see you in the next video.